You're listening to the SojuTalk Nation Podcast, episode 19.
On today's episode, we discuss this week in music and life adventures.
So sit back and chill with friends. You're listening to The After Show with the SojuTalk Nation. Welcome to the SojuTalk Nation Podcast, a chill discussion on this week in the SojuTalk Nation. We're recording on Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. I'm your host, Crispy, and joining me this week is Koala. Hi, Koala.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm tired.
Yes, you're tired, and it's 6 p.m. I don't understand your sleep schedule. But you know, I hear you did well in school. You had a group project and you wrote all in English.
Don't remind me of it. I will never do that again.
You know how group projects go, where you're the only one that cares and you hard carry the entire thing. I feel like that's what happened to you.
At least she recognized through my reflective essay that I put a lot of passion into the project, and the others probably didn't. So
yeah. It's kind of a bummer, but you know, you did great. We're all proud of you here at the Nation, and hopefully you never have to do that ever again. Moving on to announcements this week, we had Soju Sessions episode 8 drop on Monday. So check it out on YouTube or Spotify or your preferred podcast platforms. Therese joins me to talk variety shows, and that being an entry point for many fans around the world to K-pop, Korean entertainment, and their favorite idols. So go check that out. It was a pretty lengthy discussion, a lot longer than I anticipated, but we got into a lot of really cool fandom discussion. So go listen to it and let us know what you think, because I think a lot of us got into K-pop, or at least grew our fandom through online content, YouTube edits, and then full-on Korean variety shows, which makes the experience a little bit more special when compared to other forms of media from other parts of the world. Celebrating the Nation this week, we have 3 birthdays. We have on May 21st, Onyx, and then a double birthday on May 24 with Koro Sensei and Wolf. So Koro Sensei, or Koro, very active on the server, very active in the anime channel. Talking to Doug about anime recommendations and things he should buy and degeneracy, and it's always a good time. So go check that out if you are an anime fan or want to learn more about anime, because Koro has a lot of knowledge about anime. And we have Wolf, who is MIA, but he is a mod on the server. He's never around, but he does happen to pop up here and there when certain topics of discussion focus on certain aspects of idols. Is that a fair way to describe it, Koala?
I think so.
Let's leave it at that. All right, so before we go into this week in Soju Talk Music, just wanted to point out and highlight a couple of really cool things about the show this week. I'll try to do this more often moving forward, but there are a couple standout points that I think make the show feel a little bit more real and immersive, and just like you're hanging out with Doug, Warren, and Anita. One of which this week is there were a lot of blooper moments. So Warren's camera falling, Warren trying to take over the speaking lines for Anita and Showins, and the script just being shuffled, which is amazing. And then there was a lot of anime discussion that kind of went somewhere and then didn't, and then it went somewhere again. But all in all, it all wrapped up into Doug just being really wholesome about anime. So, can't complain there. Anything else for you, Koala, about the show this week that kind of stood out that was non-K-pop related?
I don't think so.
All right, let's move on to this week in Soju Talk Music. We had a lot of songs this week. The crew covered 4 songs, so the maximum of 4. But before we get into that, just wanted to highlight a couple of our favorites that were in contention this week. So prior to songs being covered themselves, I think Doug had also mentioned this on the show. He puts up a poll for the nation to vote on. I think there was something like 8 or 10 songs to vote from this week. So one of my favorites, it's Yuki from G Idol. She released an animated video for Giant, her single. So it's a single debut with 2 songs on it. And the other one is Bonnie and Clyde. Both those songs are flames. They're awesome. I think both are in English, completely in English. Yeah, she just really captures like a mood and a vibe, you know, with her deep raspy voice. And it really kind of just sets into your soul, you know. You can kind of just like chill with that song. BI also came out with a song. Koala, I think you know this guy. Can you tell me about the song and why you loved it?
It's Hanbin. Oh my god, it's the pre-release for his full album that's coming out in 2 weeks, I think. Yes. So yeah, this has been very exciting because he's starting to do music again.
Yeah. The song has 2, well, not really features, so I think it's more of a collaboration track. So it's BI x Destiny Rogers x Tyler Haya. Tyler YAWAH. Yawa. All right, cool. We'll go with that. I think like you said, well, so what was the kind of structure of the song? I think you mentioned it offline, how the lines were distributed. Could you go into that a little bit?
It's like a ton of it's a ton of Destiny at the beginning, then a bit of Hanbin, then a ton of Destiny again, and then you get a bit of Tyler. So it's not a lot of Hanbin.
Yeah, a lot of Destiny. But what's really cool is I think it's edited in a way that they seemed like they're in the same space. I mean, they could have very well shot this together, like in one space. Either BI going outside of Korea to shoot this, or those 2 artists going to Korea. Still not so sure about the world situation and things opening up. But it did at least feel like an old school music video where the artists can collaborate and were actually on set with each other. And another song I'd like to shout out this week is JB with Switch It Up. You know, pretty cool song. Very JB. I'm only shouting this song out to Therese. So that is all. That is the primary reason that I mentioned this song this week. Very cool song. Check it out. JB is part of Higher Music now. Higher Music. I don't know. I'm old. I can't pronounce things sometimes.
I'm old.
I also didn't write that down in the note, so let's move on. And then also shout out to some of the members of the nation for being really active with the new releases. So we do have Biff Milla, Delmonic, Ara, Joe Cab, Mina. I think all of them are fairly active on Chew, which is a bot on the server, Chew Last FM. You can connect your Last FM account and your Spotify account to track your listens and see where everyone else is in their listening journeys for various songs, releases, artists, and so many other things. So definitely check it out if you are on the Discord server. I think there is a cold war of listening counts where we try not to be too competitive with each other, but somehow we do. And let's just leave it at that. All right. Let's move on to the 4 releases that were covered on the main show this week. We had Ujisonyo the Black with Easy. We had Rocket Punch with Ring Ring. From Mosine with We Go. And Aespa with Next Level. 4 girl group releases. And you know what? We have a girl group stand on the show. So let's have her take control of the conversation today. Let's start with Ujisonyo's The Black. Koala, what did you think about the song, the music video, and what the crew talked about this week?
Very, very sexy, I would say. Yes. Like that suit vibe. I don't know. I really like it when female idols just wear suits. It's just really attractive. Not gonna lie. I think the song was pretty don't remember all of it, but I remember that I like it.
It's a vibe. It's very. I think they described it as groovy with a bass line. And this is more. This is similar to a lot of male idols and male groups doing kind of the. I don't know if it's like shadow MV vibe, but it's like very like groovy. I think Baekhyun is someone who comes to mind, and it's actually just really cool to see a girl group kind of pull this off. So on the show they mentioned Ujusonyo's unit groups, subunits, are very distinct, with Chokome being the small, cute, very very clearly a departure from easy and unnatural. But now you have Ujusonyo the Black, which is very much the grown-ups in the room, the adults, the sultry, sexy vibes. What do you think about Ujusonyo having two very distinct subunits? And can you remember other groups being this deliberate with how they want to differentiate their sounds and styles for the subunits?
I think it's nice for them to try out different stuff outside of the group, like for specific members, because I can imagine that not all of the members would like the cutesy concept. I remember that I didn't like it because it was too much for me, but I think it's good, and it also shows people that they are capable of many concepts and not just the one that they are going for as the whole group. I don't know if I can remember. Do I remember any group that does units a lot nowadays? I don't count NCT into it because that's kind of a weird own thing. But I don't know. If we talk about like units, I always think of Orange Caramel for some reason.
The best unit ever. Oh my god. Man, that was very epic. Another very similar unit is Banhana
Oh, don't. Oh,
from yep, from Oh My Girl. Very very fitting that we talk about Oh My Girl again, because Oh My Girl is killing it. They're doing great. But yeah, so their subunit of Aren, Sungi, and Binny. The song is called Banana Allergy. I think I talked about this last week. That's all I'll say. Check out last week's show. Some of the styling choices were mentioned on the main show. Like you said, the suits, the blue suit, and the oversized styling choice. I have a lot of feelings.
Oh god.
But your objective opinion, how did that hit you?
I don't remember that, to be honest. Like, I was just looking at the suits and like the well-fitted suits.
Mm-hmm.
Like the overall just scenery and like the sets. I don't quite remember it, to be honest. Was it bad?
Oh no, absolutely not. So let's kind of spin this way. The well-fitted suits on anyone who is just attractive and fit, and an idol who has a very distinct body, whether you're a male or female, always look great because it's very form-fitting. It's very sleek. Typically, the line work on the way the outfit is constructed works very well with kind of the length and making a person just look longer and kind of flowy, depending on how it moves. Oversized suits, however, they pop. They just have a way of taking up space. But then when you combine that with the choreography and the gyrating and the way that the song is just a bass line groove, I got a lot of feelings. This song is great. This is my third favorite song of the week. I really like it. I don't want to go too far into it.
Is this the equivalent of simping to abs? Is this what's happening?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I'll just say, for pieces of clothing that are quite large, that are covering up a body, there is a lot of creative ways in which it's still accentuating certain features of the way one would move. So let's just leave it there. Yeah, no, this subunit is excellent. I think mature, grown-up vibes is something I hope other groups do. I hope as groups get older, they explore this vibe a little bit more. Because I do think we're kind of stuck in, well, not stuck, but I think the primary meta right now for girl groups is either girl crush, teen crush, or like cute, but cute
Cute.
like but cute as a result of like summertime. And not that it's bad, because I love summer songs, but I do feel like those are like the three main ones that you can kind of like distinctly say over the past 3 years have been most prominent, where it's like, oh, I kind of want like more Uji Sonia the Black music, where it's just like, okay, I see, it's like very expensive, chic, classy. But yeah, I think the song is also constructed really well, so I think that helps a lot. Where if not to say like male idols or boy groups do this poorly, but you can also tell like there's a homogeneity. Wow, that was really hard to say. Homogeneity with the way that those songs are constructed, where a lot of them do sound very similar. Okay, well, that's enough of Uji Sonia the Black and simping to that. We have a lot more other girl groups to simp, so let's move on to
Oh god.
Rocket Punch with Ring Ring. Warren had a lot of great things to say about the song, naturally. Let's start with you, Koala. What did you think about the song itself? The retro vibe, the neutro of it all, and Warren's overall in-depth, hard-hitting analysis.
I think it's nice that they tried the neutral sound, even though it's like kind of over with the trend. I think it's also working for them because I don't know how the album sales are, but I know that their views aren't terrible. It's like at 7 million now, and I think the past ones only had like 4 or 5 million. So that seems good. But one thing I really didn't like were the outfits. I wasn't a fan of the fashion at all.
Yeah, I think this switch up is good for Rocket Punch, and it's interesting because we'd like to think Neutro is on the downside of the curve, because we heard so much of it last year, but it's very fitting for this time of the year because it does blend really well with like summer songs, especially this song, the way that it's constructed, and it's very flowy, it's very high energy. I think they mentioned like roller skates, and the theme and direction were really cool. And I think it's very fitting for kind of the amount of energy you want to convey during this time of the year. The fashion, I mean, I get what they're going for.
I mean, it fits the
Yeah.
theme, but I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah, no, I understand. I think the one thing that threw me off was the trap breakdown. So on first listen and first watch of the music video, like I liked it all like very much. But the trap breakdown was, it felt very like apparent that was like it was there, but then after further listening to it and listening to it a lot just on Spotify and my headphones, it was less noticeable. And I think it still works pretty well. And I think what Doug said, it's the least cringy of the rap sections of all the Rocket Punch songs that have come out. So, yeah, I think this song is definitely their most polished and refined of all the songs that they have released, which is a good progression, right? Because you want to get to a point where your newest music is, I guess, the cleanest, and kind of showing more of your strengths and more of your musical development. What did you think about Warren's comparison, or at least the way that he thinks about synth pop and the wave sounds, right? Where it has Take On Me, it has a lot of the neutral sounds that we heard last year, but it's kind of done, oh, distinctly Rocket Punch. It does. This song does feel distinctly Rocket Punch to me. But what did you think about their analysis of like synth pop and this genre of music?
I think it was pretty interesting to see what they think about it because I myself, I'm already having a hard time to put songs in the rock genre. Like, what is rock? I don't know. What is neutral? Feels like neutral. Could be something else. I don't know. You tell me. So the analysis was pretty helpful, and it's always nice to see because Warren is always very analytic when it comes to music and stuff because he does it himself. So yeah, I found it nice.
Yeah, you make a really good point about Warren and his analysis of music. I think that's what okay, I don't want to say my favorite part of the show, but I do want to say it's what separates this show from any other like panel discussions or a podcast or spaces in K-pop that talk about music, where Warren does approach things from an analytical music side, and he does drop in things here and there occasionally. Me personally, I would like it if he went a little bit further and he was the full-on music guy, and he talked about like so many things about the construction of a song, because that is an area of expertise that I lack in, that I just completely am not. I don't have the understanding of most people. I try to learn things here and there, but again, Warren being the primary source of that for me is really helpful as far as understanding a song and understanding why a song may or may not be put together the best. I think one interesting detour they went through for this song in particular was spreadsheets. So Warren, going into his history in college, making multiple spreadsheets and doing a cost-benefit analysis on, what was it, like members coming to their club, something like that. And how? Go ahead.
I thought Doug was the spreadsheet guy. Why we have two now?
Yeah, it turns out we have two spreadsheet guys. Well, Doug has a master's degree in public health, if I'm not mistaken, and public health is definitely requires a lot of data analysis and a lot of spreadsheet work. So I can see where Doug's skills can translate over to K-pop. Warren, I didn't know. So pretty cool. Pretty cool that he's doing an analysis for Rocket Punch's future sales and future success, depending on the other releases in the next coming months and around this time. So, you know what? I hope that they're not too stressed over it. I hope that they use this analysis for good instead of evil? Question mark? I don't know.
Oh my god.
I don't know where I'm going with this. All right. Overall, really cool song. I think this is definitely, I don't know how should I put this. It's definitely one of the most memorable songs of the year for me, and I will be listening to this regularly. I think it's going to go on a playlist where I will come back to it often, because I do make a playlist of all the releases that happen in a year, and then I make a separate playlist with the ones that I actually like. So this is one that will go on that separate playlist. Any closing thoughts about Rocket Punch and Warren waxing poetically and pining over this song?
Now it's time that they finally join Universe, isn't it? Now that they've had that comeback?
That's right. I think they are going to, very closely, too.
They should.
Because their company is on there now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Gravity is on it.
You'll see.
Or is it Gravity? Is it... Oh.
I don't know.
It's... Gravity. I don't care. I could be wrong.
You're the expert, not I. All right, moving on now to Fromos 9 with We Go. I made one very pointed note that I think we should base the foundation of our analysis on today. And I think the note is MV is dope as
Yes.
The music video is dope as hell. Holy cow. I usually watch all the music videos like very early Monday morning, and sometimes it'll catch my attention and I'll do sometimes a music video won't catch my attention and I'll do other things. When this one came on, I paused everything, full screened, all my attention. I was like, what is happening? This is amazing. So if you need a brief explanation of the music video, it's edited in a way as if there is an art director behind a computer, photo and video editing the pieces together, and you're watching it in real time along with the music played in the background. So a lot of graphics being used, a lot of things changing, and then what's really cool is the attention to detail which is what the crew highlighted with something as small as like a shadow and a reflection of the person who's sitting behind the computer actually on the screen behind all the things that are happening. Man, Um, okay, so the crew had a lot to say about the song and music video. The crew loved the music video. What did you think about the music video, Koala?
It reminded me of Treasure.
How so?
They don't have like they have like a fan video where it's not like editing, but you can also see like the screen of like an Air Mag or something like that. And they also go through like FaceTime apps and different Note apps, and I think some edit apps as well. And you can it's like more not a real MV, it's more like a fan service thing, and you can also see the lyrics sometimes. So it reminded me of that because of the look of it.
Okay, yeah, I actually do think that um, that is far more not far more common, but I have seen other versions of that, right, where it's very low production, it's very much done through a phone, and then it's repurposed later and edited to music. But this, I will say this, goes above and beyond so many other like similar types of edits where it's just like, oh no, this is like very purposefully done. Um, yeah, it's kind of amazing. I don't think there's anything more we can say about this music video that the crew didn't already mention. Um, Everything from styling to lighting to if you're a video editor or a person who's very interested in post production, this music video is one of those master classes in trying to understand like this process. Yes, on one hand, it's like very creative and it's very unique, but I think there are a lot of skills and techniques and things to remember when creating anything in video editing that do stand out. I mean, as small as it is, like lighting and shadowing, where you're immersed in the experience. And I think Anita mentioned like the phone ringing, where it's like it's a little weird, but then you realize like, oh no, it's to keep you within the experience and like the storytelling of it all. Yeah, no, I think it's freaking amazing, and please watch it if you haven't. You're listening to two podcasts that have talked about this, and you haven't watched the music video. I don't know what you're doing. Please go watch it. It's amazing. All right, so the song. I will just go out and say this. This song is in my top 10 of the year, which is wild because now two songs in two back-to-back weeks have made it to my top 10 of 2021.
What happened before those? I don't remember a lot coming out that you love besides Rosie
Yeah, that's it, right? I think
and
Rosie,
Stacy. Rosie, Stacy. Oh my
IU,
god.
yeah, Rosie,
Oh
Stacey,
yeah, IU
IU,
came back.
and Oh My Girl are now like firmly in my top 10 so far. For Almost Nines We Go, the song is great. It's really
I
great.
like
Go ahead.
I like Airplane Mode more though. Was it called Airplane Mode?
Airplane Mode.
It's one of the B sides.
You listened to the entire mini album. You're such a girl group stan. I didn't
It's
know.
only it's only three
So three
songs.
songs. It's really good though. But yeah, no, the entire mini album is excellent. It's well, Koala, since you listened to the entire mini album, how do you feel like each of the songs played off of each other with Airplane Mode, We Go, and the last title escapes me, but it's definitely falling into the
Promise, I
theme.
think. I think the last one is
Promise.
Promise.
Where it's falling into this theme of travel.
Promise was like very slow. So I think the order of the mini album is like Airplane. Is it Airplane Mode? Is it
Yes,
Airplane?
Airplane Mode.
Airplane Mode.
Mhm.
It's Airplane Mode, then Go, I think, and then it should be Promise. And it's nice to see that we end this whole thing with a very slow song, in my opinion. Not very slow, but in comparison to the other two before that. So it's a nice mini album.
Yeah, no, it's really well done. I think it's kind of nice that the theme is travel because the past 18 months has been a pandemic in the world and we've all been restricted from moving around, and now that things are starting to open up, now there's hope with the vaccine. It'll be nice to see the world open up and people move around and travel for fun. So yeah, this is it's very fitting for kind of looking forward and being hopeful of summertime and brighter days. Any closing thoughts about the song and music video, Koala?
I don't know. I don't think so. I already expected to like Promise because I like their past songs already.
Nice, yeah. I did like their past songs quite a bit as well. I liked, what was the last song called?
Feel good.
Feel good. Na 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 na. Yeah, see, even till this day, that hook is just it's stuck in my head, very earwormy. Yeah, definitely love Ramos. The situation with their show and like the human rights stuff, definitely something to remember as far as their history and a moment in K-pop. But ultimately, I think they moved past it. I think it's a good reminder that there are still people behind the things that create the things we love. But yeah, it does seem like they moved past it, and hopefully they get more music and more releases moving forward. So yeah, Frommelstein, let's go. All right, the final song of the week. Man, we are trying to move through this, but there's just a lot of music this week. We have aespa with Next Level. I will not do the Next Level rendition that Doug so beautifully did on the show. I do not have Doug's voice for that. But yeah, it's
something.
That's exactly what they said on the show. Koala, go ahead. What are your thoughts and opinions about the song, music video, and this whole concept of storytelling?
I have a question. Like, it felt like it wanted to go somewhere, but it went nowhere. It's like, I think it's very clear now that everybody thinks, okay, this song kind of weird. There's like more of like 3 songs, maybe even 4, maybe a whole mini album. I don't know. And my biggest problem is like midway through the song, I couldn't tell what the hell the chorus was, because it feels like they had like half a minute of first verse, then the chorus, and then there was like just 1 minute of a completely different song, in my opinion, and then the chorus just went back in like completely sudden way, which I didn't expect it and still don't really understand. No, I'm just really confused I mean, it doesn't feel weird for SM to drop a song like this, but at the same time, is this what you want to do if your group only has 3 songs at the time now? Being risky might not be the best thing, even though it's SM and they have a huge following.
I think all of what you said is completely valid. And I would say the crew generally spoke pretty... how should I put this? Less spicy than anticipated. But I think that's good, because I think ultimately you do want to let people decide on their own how they should feel about a song. And they tried their best to be analytical and objective about what we received as an experience. Because I think ultimately SM is not selling us on music anymore, at least as far as this song and the aspirations of aespa. Wow, that's alliteration there. But I think to me, like, I interpret this as SM trying to create an experience, because the episode 1 of Black Mamba cinematic drama, whatever that was, I think it was amazing. I think it was a really highly produced piece of art, because it, I oftentimes like to see things as art and then try to see the subjective nature of art, and I think that's all great. But I think at the core, foundationally, it's music, and the crew came back around and really tried to make this conversation about music and point out that yes, SM, like, you can create this universe, create this experience, create this lore and story to really keep your fans engaged. But when you have a group that is less than 1 year old, a group that does not necessarily have the long history fandom that other groups have, that have made lore, that have made videos, I think I'm curious to see how it works, because for me right now it's not working, because I don't understand the musical direction. But if you told me that this group is competition for KDA, that this group is going to be online characters with movies and short films and video game representation, then okay, that's pretty cool. But aespa's a K-pop group with real people.
Yeah, you see, the problem for me is now is this a K-pop group with lore, or is this a storyline that's accompanied by a K-pop group, but it's not the main focus?
Yeah. So that's like the big problem, right? Um, and me personally, I don't think that works because this is a K-pop group. They said it outright. This is a K-pop group. I mean, this is like, that's objective. So I'm not so sure exactly how SM is going to prioritize that moving forward, because Doug did mention that he hopes that they give more attention to the music side of things. I actually think they're gonna double down. And
Yeah, you can tell that they won't stop it.
yeah,
If you also take a look at the lyrics, which were kind of forced to me, kind of cringy, they say like Black Mamba, Cosmos, Navy, aespa like tons of times
yep,
for no reason.
yeah. So it'll be interesting because I think they're the only girl group right now that's deliberately doing it this way. KDA I do not count as K-pop because that is an international project by a company that is not a music company. Let's be outright. Riot is a video game company who has a lot of amazing creative people and a large budget to do something on that scale, but they are storytellers, right? Not to say that music isn't storytelling, but their primary objective is not to storytell through music. It's to storytell through games and lore, and then incorporate music with the resources, which they're doing really well. aespa, on the other hand, is music, and yeah, it's very nebulous at the moment. I don't want to crap on it too much because I don't know what the future holds for aespa and the direction, and perhaps it does turn out to be kind of amazing and game changing, right? But right now, when you put out a song that feels like a preview track mix, when it could have been like 4 songs on a mini album, but you put it all into a 3-minute song, it's gonna be received very unevenly. Let's just put it
One
that way.
thing though, them visuals, man, oof, SM knows what they're doing.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of like the K-pop the sorry, the K-pop blueprint, right? Where it's like they are people. You know, we'll put money and resources into presenting them as idols, but then what are they doing now with this whole like digital virtual world and storytelling, which, you know, we don't know the answers yet. Maybe there's answers down the line, but yeah, I will agree. The girls look great. They look
By the
amazing.
way, that first white outfit, do you know which one I'm talking about? That holographic one?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
for some reason, I associate it with the transparent pants of JYP.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like,
I can see
it's
that.
like I see that holographic color. I'm like, wait. And she was also wearing a weird transparent skirt.
Yeah.
Like it was semi-transparent. I was like, where have I seen that before?
Yeah,
Like,
I can't
it
unsee it anymore. Thanks a lot, Koala.
it didn't get better because then they had that weird, awkward, slow motion choreo part where they were leaning back, and they were still wearing those outfits. And I'm like, where have I seen that before? Oh, oh.
Yeah. Hmm. That's
That's awkward now.
yeah. Well, speaking of other things that are brought from the past, Ning's red hair is very evocative of old Red Velvet with
Yes.
Joy, and I think Sulgi had red hair at one point.
Was it Happiness already? Or
That's our
was
first
it after
song.
that?
Yeah, I think it might have been. Joy was red for Red Flavor. I'm fairly certain. KME, fact check me on that one. KME, the biggest Red Velvet fan on the server, amazing guy. Also, Joy's coming back with the solo debut. So, hey, let's go. All right. Yeah, we spent a lot of time on music this week. We hope that you guys appreciated this conversation. We wanted to go a little bit longer and extensive just because there were so many releases. A lot of great conversation on the show. But now we're moving on to the Soju chart for May 19th, 2021. We have the brand new winners, the reshuffled order. Yeah, let's go to it. So number 3, we had Rocket Punch with Ring Ring. Oh My Girl at number 2 with Dun Dun Dance. And number 1, the brand new Spice King for this week, Fromos 9 with We Go. All right, Koala, what are your thoughts, feelings, opinions about how the crew got to this list?
I think it was surprising that aespa made the list for some of the crew. Like, it would have been, I don't know, 6th on my list. But in general, I would pretty much agree to this. I would have probably switched Oh My Girl with Promise because I remember Oh My Girl more prominent and I liked the song a bit more. But in general, it's a pretty good list, pretty tight. Let's see how this one goes. Who will go? Oh wait, BTS next week. Maybe not Spice King.
Yeah. Just on this week alone, I do think this is a very similar list to what I would have had. Me personally, of course, I have Oh My Girl at 1 because I am just a big simp. But I also do think Dun Dun Dance is one of the best songs of the year. So I will just put that out there. It's not simply because I love the group and I love the girls. But the Promise 9 song, I'm not mad that that's 1 because it's a really good song. I had that at my number 2 personal list. But if I'm also taking into account like the music video and the novelty of a new song for the week, yeah, like it does make sense that the crew would land on that as the number 1 song. Rocket Punch at 3, a little surprising. I would think that Warren would fight a little bit more to have that be at least 2, but you know, it's at 3 and it does make sense. It's a very good song. I do like the vibe and everything. Like you said, aespa made some list. I think that's more out of curiosity, which, you know, I can't fault because like Doug said, there are very distinct elements of the song that are done quite well. It just happened that all of them were done in one song, I think is like the conclusion, right? Where it's like we don't really know. It's very unclear what they were trying to, I guess, achieve. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting list, a very fun list, and yeah, BTS is just gonna like blow all this up next week. So cool, looking forward to that. All right. Anything else this week with music, Koala? Anything else stand out for you?
I don't think for Korean releases, no.
All right, let's move on to State of the Nation. So we had some music news this week. Before State of the Nation. State of the Nation has been very much a catch-up segment for the crew. I don't think we're going to be reflecting too much on their personal lives and the things they've been up to, unless there's some really cool, like, relatable things that are similar to us. But yeah, with the news, I think the one thing that stood out to me was Warren should probably apply to be a producer for Hive or Big Hit, like whatever that competition is, because I think it'll be a cool experience to talk about. Warren, I too listen to a lot of lo-fi music. I occasionally open your Spotify, but I can't say I have opened your Spotify or any Spotify in the past 6 to 8 months, so apologize there. But I too like lo-fi music, so yeah, please make more lo-fi music. Hopefully you make lo-fi music for Hype in the future.
Imagine him making the credits. Oh my god, that the thought would be so hilarious.
Oh my god.
But our goal isn't just simply being a producer at Hype. Our goal is to establish our own company.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is our entry point to like learn how the business is done, and then like in Itaewon class, you know, make a competing company and try to like take over Hype. That's a 20-year plan, you know?
20-year plan.
Well, I guess like 14 if you're going by like the ET1 like timeline where it's like 7 years.
We already have we have an S tier trainee list with I don't know who.
We have an S tier trainee list. Who's our S tier trainee? It's like Kesh.
Think you're too old to be a trainee, huh?
I am not. Nope. 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 I think there was a lot of clownery this week. So Mad Monster was a topic of discussion by Warren.
That was a long segment, a long part of trolling.
You wanna explain what happened on the show?
It was like, I mean, at first I was like, what the hell is he talking about? And then closer to the end, I understood that he was trolling very hard with the snow filters and shit. And I actually didn't hear of that group before, but after I listened to the episode, they were in my timeline, so now I'm very confused what Mad Monsters, and their faces scare me.
Yeah, some nightmare stuff. I could tell it was a bit when Warren was doing it, but it went on for a really long time. I was just like, oh, he's still going. And then when Doug like prompted him to explain, he still went with it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But it did kind of loop into a larger discussion on criticism and having fun with the genre, but also being critical of the things that you consume, which I think is an important lesson, an important talking point when you are a fan of anything that requires you to spend money on something, right? Because yes, like we love our groups, and K-pop in and of itself is a medium that allows you into the lives of your favorite idols, and in a way like humanizing them, like forming that connection. But it also doesn't mean that you should just blindly love everything your favorites do, right? Whether that's like music, whether that's creative choices outside of music. And I think Doug's little PSA about when music is released and you liking a song only because it's by your favorite artist, and then another song comes out similarly from a group that you don't care about, there is a disconnect with the way in which people speak about like what is good and what is bad. I think it's a healthy discussion to be critical of the things that you like because it makes you more intelligent consumers. I think overall it's a net positive in how we want the industry to move forward, right, in the direction. What did you think about kind of the deeper discussion this week that the crew went into regarding standards and high standards for companies?
I think it was nice to get an insight of what they think about it, because I mean, the only artist I would probably act like that is Treasure. Yes, I pre-order their stuff. But for all the other stuff I buy, it's only if I really like the music and on it, and maybe even the visuals. It's like an album. So I think that mindset is pretty apparent, that many fans, I would say, nowadays really just buy because it's their favorite artist and not really because they think that the preview sounds good or the photos are very well done. It's more like, oh, I need to support them kind of feeling.
It's an interesting dichotomy, right? Where on the one hand we form these connections with idols because there's a personal nature to how K-pop is presented to us. I mean, like you said, like you are a big Treasures fan, but you can also equate like the other ways in which people have connected with artists. And you may not like their music, you may not even like the preview, but you're buying their product for other reasons. Again, not to say that any of that is wrong, because I don't think there's a wrong way to consume media and the things that you like, especially if it's not hurting anyone. But I do think ultimately who benefits most is not necessarily the artist, but it's the companies who aren't held accountable for the creative choices they make. I'm not so sure exactly if there's a solution to that, because I don't know if there's a way to intellectualize it, or at least have a large scale number of people intellectualize this type of conversation the same way that the crew did. But I think it's great that the nation's exposed to it, and I think that's a good starting point. For me, I don't spend money on music. I spend money on Spotify, and then I'll watch things on YouTube. But I can understand why K-pop as an industry, as a business, should be taken more critically, because there is that immediate impact on the economics itself, as opposed to like Western media and Western music. Kind of wrapping things up on this end, I guess, do you feel like the crew should have these longer in-depth discussions on the show, and what are some of the other topics you feel like on a business scale would be interesting for them to cover?
I think it's nice because we have different switch ups instead of the nation. We had the World Cups, we had Kingdom, and now it's more serious topics. And I think it's good to switch up the content every now and then to not make it too too boring. Boring is the wrong word, but to get something new out of the pod.
Stale, perhaps?
I don't know.
Too similar every week to week. Yeah, I do think variety in conversation is really great, and I think the crew has done a nice job mixing it up over the past few months with the World Cups, and then Kingdom taking a few weeks, and then them making the creative choice to cover other things, which I think is good. I think once you're given new information, you can form a different opinion and change your mind. I think that's totally fine. And I think that's actually healthy, because we should all be taking in new information and changing our mind occasionally when things are presented to us that we want to pivot from. Because, I mean, it's part of life. It's okay to change your mind. I mean, it's never a bad thing, right? All right. Well, that closes our thoughts for the main show this week. Moving on now to check-in and closing thoughts for Koala and Crispy. Yeah, how are you this week, Koala? What have you been up to? And yeah, what does school look like for you next week if you're not going to be on the show?
Next week is exam time. Why? And they will probably be written because the numbers are going down here, but it's still very unstable, so anything could happen. But like music-wise, I thought I was dead when 17 announced their group comeback. But no, I was wrong. They just announced a freaking Wano x Mingyu featuring Lee Hai digital single. I think I'm in heaven. Why I'm being spoiled by them, okay? I already got like 2 solos and they are saying every member is getting a solo, and it doesn't seem like they will stop anytime soon.
Do you think the first half of the year all these companies were just trying to figure out what they wanted to do on their release schedule instead of like spacing it out in like years past? Everyone just said like, no, we're gonna wait for the world to open up again and then release everything, because I kind of feel like that's what's happening.
I mean, for 17 it was mostly, I think, because of the scandals with Mingyu that they hold the activities a bit in the first quarter. Yes, but they've been resuming everything. They are now starting to do the solos, I think. But in general, I would say people are probably waiting for the world to open up a bit. I mean, for rookies, especially, it's probably nice for them to slowly do in-person fan signs again and see the fans, and for the companies to gain even more money out of it. Because online fan signs are very nice, but I think people are willing to spend even more if it's like in person.
Yeah, that's wild to think about. Like rookie groups that debuted after February last year have never seen fans.
Like not on promotional
promotions,
ways, at
not
least.
on music shows. They've never had a live show. They've never had a fan sign.
Like I can tell my kids were about to tear up when it was an online concert and they were just looking at screens of fans.
Yeah, that's wild.
They were so emotional. So I can't imagine how it will feel like if they see like fans cheering for them on the music shows, because I think that's an essential part of this whole promotion schedule, and without it just feels weird for them probably.
Yeah, it's an essential part for being an entertainer and just the liveness of connecting with your audience, right? I mean, the majority of like human history, anything with entertainment has been done in front of a live audience, and for 18 months now, they couldn't during very like formative years of like developing who you are as an artist. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting transition. I think there's a lot of excitement for people to come back into it. Yeah, I'm excited to see kind of the psychological response to that, and like if there is a different type of emotion, a different kind of feeling, and just how they respond to it on stage, because I mean, as much as they train tirelessly to perfect every little detail, I mean, for a rookie group to get on stage for the first time in front of live audience,
I'm ready for them to cry.
right? I mean, the emotions got to take over at some point.
The last time they performed like in front of an audience was in like 2019 when they had their survival program.
Yeah. Well, also speaks to other groups like Weekly and Stacy.
Just every rookie. Like we got a ton of rookies last year. Ton of weird boy group names.
Yeah. I can name all the girl groups that are very popular on the server right now, but I won't do that because that's a conversation for another time. But I know Dell is shout out to Dell and Purple Kiss. That's all I'll say there. For me, a lot of interviews. I'll just say
like
that.
Warren.
Yeah, I know, just like Warren.
Applying for jobs.
Yeah, shout out to Warren, by the way, for interviewing, getting a new job, and kind of chilling until things start up again. But yeah, I think I can relate, Warren. It's a very uncertain process when applying to jobs, and just kind of the stress there. Hopefully things turn up for me, but I'm just gonna stay optimistic and not put my hopes up too high, and just kind of ride with everything, because I kind of don't like talking about it until it actually happens. I think I'm very similar to Warren in that sense. TV shows, I'm actually finishing up a show that I've been wanting to watch for like 2 years. It's called Devs, Devs. It's a science fiction thriller. I think it's like 6 or 8 episodes, something like that. The premise is it's a very like science fiction, like sterile, like environment type TV show, where this like tech company has created this piece of technology that explores like quantum physics and like recreations of composites of, well, the premise is like the recreation of composites of like radio waves, because that is something that can be done. But then it moves on to like photons, which are light waves, and like being able to see images of the past. But then reconciling that with like other theories in quantum mechanics, the many worlds theory, can you then recreate composites of living matter on a fundamental quantum level? It's a pretty wild show. There's some murder. The main actors are Sonoya Mizuno. I think you'll recognize her from Crazy Rich Asians as the girl who gets married. So she's really cool there. And then there's Nick Offerman, who's from Parks and Rec, who plays kind of a tormented soul. He's the CEO of everything. So I know it's a little bit heavier of a TV show, but if you're interested in Western sci-fi, it does a really nice job. And it's a very beautiful show. I think they do a lot of really cool science fiction things that just are very breathtaking. So yeah. The main director and writer is Alex Garland. He is probably one of my favorite science fiction writers in television and movies right now. Just look up Alex Garland. He does a lot of really cool things. One of my favorite movies of his is Sunshine, so check that out. Anything else, Koala, before we close things up for this week?
Just my usual Chinese simping. I'm just praying for that one dude. He's debuting as a solo artist. I'm just really praying for his music to be on Spotify. This is like the struggle. Oh god, I should have gotten into Chinese music. Oh, it was a mistake.
It's always a struggle. Let's be real.
By the way, are you looking forward to Stacy the better version?
I don't know what you're talking about. I refuse.
I mean, it's not Zebeto, but it's AI. It's AR MV. It will be beautiful. We know it. Ugh.
Whatever it is, I will probably give it a try with resignation. But honestly, it's more of a reflection of how popular Stacy is right now. Because I would not have expected them to be this popular, because I think they're the ones that popped off the most of the girl group rookies in contention for 2021. Because we'll see what aespa looks like in the next couple of weeks for their promotion cycle. But yeah, Stacey's like popping off, like they're everywhere right now. So props to them and props to their company for giving them the opportunity and pushing them into different directions. That's all I'll say about that, Koala. I know you're trying to bait me into something else. I will not take the bait. Anyways, thank you for listening to the SojuTalk Nation Podcast, episode 19.
Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify or your preferred podcast platform, and continue the conversation on the SojuTalk Kpop Podcast Discord.
This has been the SojuTalk Nation for Koala. This is Crispy. Bye.
Bye.